Yeah, okay. Last class we found a lower method of learning Python is fun. That is stored in X variable. You understand? So we printed low, and we made the method. We tried to find to return the strings to lowercase. That is the first alphabet that is originally that is by default in uppercase, or but that was originally written in uppercase. So we converted it to what lowercase by calling this method against this what variable x. So today, like I said in the previous lesson, I said this was version one. So the continuation of this is uh, using the upper method, the swap case method, the capitalized method, the title, left strip, and of course right strip, and what have you. So let's start with let me comment this out. Let me comment it out. So let's start with uppercase. Of course, you would, from the definition of the lowercase, uh, from the definition of lower method, you would understand. Of course, you could derive the definition for upper method. Well, let me say, let me give a quick definition to it. Say what this does is, let me say, upper method. So what upper method does is what it returns it returns a copy it returns a copy of a string. It returns a copy of a string in which all lowercase, in which all lowercase, let me collapse this tree here, in which all lowercase, let me say all lowercase alphabet, in which all lowercase alphabet, all lowercase alphabets in a string, in a string are what? Are converted to what? To uppercase. Please don't get this confused. Don't get yourself confused. I told you uppercase and lowercase in Nigerian parlance. We know you call it capital letter, small letter. So don't get yourself confused as to what uppercase or lowercase is. So just know I'm talking about capital letter or small letter that we use. That is the common parlance we use to express or to depict these cases. So so let's say peradventure let's say I converted this to, let's say this was originally converted to lowercase, or let me just leave it like that. Let me leave it like that, and let's see what it will do in practical. So let's try to express it and see what it will do in practical. So let's say let's store it in what? In up variable. I told you you can name your variable anyhow, but you have to follow the best use case. Sorry, the standard. So UPP, and I told you what you cannot use your variable as. You cannot use keyword as your variable naming, and of course I gave you from the start. I think I gave you the um, naming convention of variable. I gave you the snake case, the Pascal case, and the what, uh, and the camel casing. And if I have not given you that, please let me know in the comment section, or write to me in Discord. Now we of course explain what that is to you. So let's store it in a variable upper. Let's say x dot low or x dot what? Let's call an upper method against the s. Where am I getting my s from? I'm getting my s from here. This is a new variable that is storing what? The upper method against what? The former variable x, which we are where we have our string stored in. So don't get confused. So upper method. So by printing UPP, right? By printing UPP, we should have um, yes, you will see that all. lower cases were converted to what are converted to what upper cases. You understand? So that is it. You will see that the only place we had upper case was this L was in uppercase and this P was also in uppercase. But now everything has been what converted to uppercase because we the variable S had upper method call against it, and by printing and storing it in UPP, by printing UPP, it gave us the outcome, and that was the outcome. So the next one we'll be talking about is the swap case. The swap case. Let me comment this out. Let me comment this out. So we have the swap case. We have the what? Swap case. Swap case. What the swap case does is it returns a copy of the string in which the cases of the alphabet are swapped. That is, all the lowercase, all the lowercase alphabet are converted to what? Uppercase. Now look at this. This is what it's saying. It says all the cases are swapped. You understand? Now, where we have uppercase, like this case of L, it will be what? It will be swapped to what? It will be swapped to lower. Then where we have lower cases, they will now be swapped to what? Upper. Here we have P as the upper case, it will be swapped to lower, and Iton, that is the remaining of Python, and of course his font will be what? Swapped to upper. Let's see how this is doing. Let's see how this is doing in practical. Let's create a variable swap and what? Uh, of course, former variable, and let's make a swap case method against it so as to see what it is doing in practical. So swap case first, let's print swap, variable, let's print swap variable, and let's see. Yes, you will see that L, which was originally written in uppercase, is now what? Returned to lowercase. While the rest that were written in lowercase were what? Converted to uppercase. And P, of course, was written in lowercase, also what? Converted to lowercase, and vice versa. And others that were in lowercase were what? Are now what? Converted to what? Uppercase. Another one we're going to be looking at is capitalize, a capitalize method. Let me comment this out. Capitalize method. Capitalize method. Um, capitalize. Capitalize method. Now, capitalize method returns a copy of the string with only its first character capitalized. This is it. This is it. Let's assume we have uh, let's assume we have everything here. Let's assume we have everything here uh, in uh, in lower. Let's assume we have every of the string in lower, every word in this string data in lower. Now, capitalize we only make this first letter. Um, we convert only this first letter to capital, that is to uppercase. Others will be what? Left as lowercase. Let's see what this is doing in this is let's see how this is working in practical. Let's create a variable capital, and let's call the method against the former variable where the strings are what? Stored in. Let's say uh, dot capital is dot capital, and of course, no, sorry, dot capitalize, not capital. It's a capitalize method. So let's print capital. Let's print capital. Sorry, excuse me. Let's print capital. By printing capital, you will see that I what I did was, let me collapse this and let me come. This was written in uppercase, so I returned it to lowercase, so as for us to have, look at this, L was written in lower uppercase, but I deliberately put it in lowercase, so as for us to have a full understanding of what the definition of uh, capitalized method is. So I told you it only returns the copy of, let's say we have bunch of words as strings. You understand? So what it does is, if the capitalized method is used against the strings, against those strings, it's only the first word, the first alphabet in the first word will only be what converted to uppercase. Others will be what left as lower cases. So please don't forget the definition. So by doing that, by making this a lowercase, every other thing in lowercase, and calling the capitalized method against the this variable here, and of course I stored everything in variable again. So by printing the variable, it gave me this as according to the definition L, which was originally in lowercase, now converted to what uppercase, because I used capitalized method against it. Another one we're going to be looking at is the title. Let me comment these two out. Let me see. Let me comment this out. Let me close this. Come here and title. 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 What does title do? Title returns a copy of the strings in which the first character of all the words are capitalized. This is what it's saying. Now, look at everything here is in lowercase. You understand? So, every first letter of each of these words will be what? Will be in what? Uppercase. Each and every first letter of each word. Learning is a word, the first letter here will be uppercase. Python is a word, the first letter here will be uppercase. Is a word, the first letter here will be uppercase, and of course font and F will be what? Uppercase. Let's see how this is working in practical. We have let's create type. Let's use type as the variable, so that we won't confuse things here. So let's say X, which is the variable where the strings are stored in, and let's call it against the title method, and of course let's print teeth, and let's see how it is working in what practical. And of course you will see that every first letter of each word are what uh, are stored in, I mean, are what are printed in uppercase. Look at L is printed in uppercase, P is printed in uppercase, P for Python, is for ease. I mean, I for ease is printed in uppercase, and of course, font. And you agree with me that those words were originally in what? Lower case. Another one we'll be talking about is L strip. L strip. Let me close this. Let me comment this out. L strip. Let me show you what L strip is. L strip. L strip. What is L strip? L strip is uh L strip. Let me put it in method. Okay. L strip. What it does is it returns a copy. It returns a copy. Uh, it returns a copy of the string in which it returns a copy of the string in which all the characters, uh, sorry, in which all the characters have been stripped. Uh, Let me see. Sorry, I don't want to lose any. I've been what? Stripped. Another word for strip is that we can call strip is, let's say removed. Let's just use removed. You understand? So as for us to, for simplicity's sake, so let's say removed from the beginning. Say from the beginning. I don't know if I'm spelling the correct thing. From the beginning. So of course, the default character, note that the default character um, is what, a white space. Is what, a white space. So let's see. What this is saying is, from this definition, it says it returns a copy of a string in which all the characters have been what, stripped, that is removed from the beginning. The fourth character is what, a white space. Now, uh, what he's saying is, look at here. It says every copy of the string in which all the characters have been stripped. That is, it will remove every. Let's see. Let me put it in practical so that we can understand, you know, how it is working in practical rather than being verbose about the whole stuff. Let's say, let's say let's say we have, let me create, in Python, white space, which literally means space, is part of the code, is part of your code. So let's deliberately create some white space. So let's now say, learning is fun. Learning is fun learning is fun learning uh, or there's no need for me to create another data. Let me just create a white space here deliberately. Let's say I've created a white space, a white space there. So um, let's store it in a variable called strp strp, so as for us not to confuse things. Let's store it in a variable strp. Let's now say, let's say let's call the method against x variable. Let's say uh, let's say l strip. It's not gonna take anything, so let's print strp. Let's print it. Let's see how it's working in practical. You will see that what it does, or what it did here, was to remove from left. Look at it, left strip, left strip. It removes all the left white space. It remove them and what, return it to normal position. So that is the function of what, left strip. The opposite of left strip is what, right strip. Let me put the opposite of left strip. Let me um, comment this out. So yes, we have the outstrip, which is what, uh, which means outstrip method means returns a copy of the string in which all the characters have been stripped or removed from the end. You understand? Remove from the end. In this case, left strip, it says from the beginning. Then right strip will be what, from the end. And of course, the default character is what, white space. So that is that about left strip and of course right strip. Of course, let's say strip. There's also, of course, another method that is very important and very useful. Let's say strip. Let's say strip method. Strip method. What is strip method doing? Now, a strip method returns a string in which all the characters have been stripped or removed from both beginning and what, end. So you understand? For every characters that is in the beginning or the end that you want to remove, you use what, strip. So don't forget, left strip returns a copy of the string in which all characters have been stripped from removed or removed from the beginning. Right is from the end, and of course strip is from both sides. I want you to, as a take home, I want you to do right strip and strip for as assignment. It's just not assignment to be submitted, or it's like a practice, on your own. So another one is, we're gonna be checking the marks of a string. The marks of a string. What is the marks of a string? Let's say It's a mass method. We use a mass method, mass method. Of course, it's gonna take an argument. Anything inside a method is called an argument. This thing like this now is an argument. Any other thing, if you create a method or a function, anything inside the method is called argument. You understand? Like this is a method. If I put anything here, is an argument. So mass mass function we take, or mass method. I can sometimes method or functions are used interchangeably. So don't get confused. In not in all cases though, but in most cases they are used interchangeably. So in this case, mass method is going to what take take an attribute. You understand? It's going to take an attribute string. So what it does is it returns it returns the maximum alphabet, or let's say the maximum alphabetical order, the maximum alphabetical character from, let's say, character from what? Uh, from string. From what? String. And in this case, I use this string, say XTR, from string STR. So let's use, I want to look for a better example to use. Uh, I want to look for a better example to use in this case. Let's say, oh, let's continue with the, let's use, the, what is it called? The data, the, sorry, excuse me, the learning Python is fun. Let me return it. Let me return the white space. Okay, let me close up the white space. So let's use still this still, since we are still, let's say we have, um let me create a variable called max alpha, max alpha. Let's now create max of x. I told you this is going to take the variable of the string, data, as what? As an attribute, You understand? So let's print max alpha. Let's print max alpha. Yes, max alpha. Sorry, max alpha. Let's print max alpha and let's see how this is working in practical. Of course, the maximum alphabet there is what? Y. Look at it here, Y. And how do I know? If you let's try to let's say we are counting ABC to Z. ABC to Z, you will see that Y precede. Y succeeds every word here. Y, of course, after Y is Z. If I add Z here, let's say, yeah, let me put beside phone, let me put Z, let's say phones, and I print it again, you will see that Z will be the what? Maximum, this thing here. Look at it here. So after printing it, it gave me. I hope you understand that, and I hope, of course, that is taking, and of course, that is well understood. And another one we're gonna be looking at is the minimum of string. So of course you will understand that from the maximum of string, the definition for minimum method is the reverse of this. So of course you can do that yourself. That is the essence of being a good student. So you can um, give it a definition. Of course, just reverse this definition, and that we go for. Let me comment this out. That we go for a minimum of what? On string. And of course, do you can just use um, our x variable to express or to solve, to find the minimum of the string. You understand? Let me put minimum of x here so that you won't get confused. Yes, so that has solved it. So I'll want you to practice that on your own, and of course see how it is working in practical. Of course, another one we have is replace. We have replace. We have center. We have L justified. We have Z few. We have count, and of course, let me um, I would want us to stop here and continue in the next class where we'll be needing uh, or excuse me, let me just do the count method. Let me do the count method. It's important because we're gonna be needing the count method. You understand? We're gonna be needing the count method. Let me use the count method now. Count method. Count method. And of course, count method will take an attribute. It will take attributes. Let's say attribute s, because we have x as our variable. It will also take, let's say, uh, it will begin at, let's say, to begin at 0, and it will, let's say, it will end at, it will have an ending at, say, length of length of x. You understand? Let me tell you what is, let me give the definition so that you won't get confused. The definition is this: what it does is it returns the number. Let me write it out. It returns the number of occurrences, the number of occurrences. It returns the number of occurrences uh, of s of s. You understand? That is the number of occurrences, how a particular, say, alphabet word occur in the variable x. Say how many alphabet occur in so 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 variable, how many uh, words appear in so so, or occur in so 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 and so variable. So we are using x over time, and of course the definition says uh, it returns the number of occurrences. It returns the number of occurrences of x. That is the variable in s, and in the range, it takes the range. Let me tell you the range it takes. It takes the range. In the range, say it begins from 0, and what, say end, it ends at what, say the length of uh the length of what, of the data in s, or the string in s, strings in what, s. Now, if I say it begins at 0, we are talking about the index. I think we discussed about index. I've taught you about index. So by saying it begins at 0, it means we are talking about the index. Index, that is what we are talking about. That is the position. The position. So I'm going to give an example. Excuse me, sorry. So I'm going to give an example, and I would want you um, to do some practice on your own. Of course, let me say, let me say, um, print. Let me say, print. Say x dot. Say count. X dot count. Let me not do it this way so that you won't get confused. Let me do it this way. Let me say, uh, let me create a variable called uh, count string. Yeah, and now say s dot count method. Let me create a count method. What am I counting? Let's say I want to count. Uh, I want to count I. Yeah, and I want you to start the counting from zero and end it at what? Let's say length of s. Yes, you understand. Length of s means uh, say length of s means that is the size of x. Do you understand? We did length of x. We did length of x. Look at here, we did length of s, and I gave a definition of the length of s. So when the length of s is when you count this whole thing, including the white space, the size of it. Let me remove the forms. The size of it is what? Is the what? The total number of every member of this strings, every string, every alphabet here, including the white space, is called the length of what? Of the variable s. So count how many I in x. That is by using count method against s. You are saying count. Then the count method is going to take this attribute. You understand? What am I counting? Count I. You understand? Start the counting from zero and end the counting at what? That is the total number of. You can say you should end the counting at 5 or 10, but me, I want to use all the alphabet in the what? In the variable s. So let me now print. Let me print. Let me print count count string. So by printing it, I hope you can see this. Let me zoom out a bit. I hope you can see it. So I hope it's not too tiny. So by printing count string, this variable that I'm storing all the whole of this in. So let me print it, and of course you see that twice. I occurred twice. Let's see. It said two here. So let's see. Let's see. Let's see how many times I occurred. Learning one I here, of course, the second I here. So I want you to, as a take home, I want you to try each of these alphabets. You understand? And see how many times it's it occurred in the strings of x variable. You understand? So do it on your own and see um, where, of course, uh, how it occurs, you understand, and how many times it occurs. I think we have to stop here and continue in our next class. We still have some methods to introduce, but I don't want to rush you with all the methods available, so that you can, slow and steady wins the race. We go pace after pace. We try to make sure that the pace is not too stretchy. Is not too the pace is um, gradual, so as for you to have a sound understanding of what we have been doing. The most important thing is not about is not having a long tutorial. The most important thing is grabbing what is being taught, understanding, and that is the most important thing. And that is my watchword. You must understand. You understand. You must understand every bit of what I'm doing. You understand? So if there's any query, if there's any question, please comment on my. You can give me a comment on my. You can comment in the comment section, or come to me on Discord, WhatsApp. I'm available, so you can just tell me, and of course we iron out what the confusion is. We study together and iron it out. I'm always available for you, and of course the most important thing is what, like I said, learning. And thank you for sticking around, and thank you for watching this video, and God bless.